Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another review, or in this case, fucking Rant. Because I had a displeasure watch fucking Candyman 3, Day of the Dead, and there's only one movie called Day of the Dead, and it was directed by George Romero. Came out in 1999, direct to video by Artisan Entertainment, so I'm sure Lionsgate owns it now. Why the fuck you would want this movie, I have no idea. I did not buy this movie. This Nice Dining told me sent me the second film on Blu-ray. I decided to review these Candyman films. I found this to watch somewhere online. And I don't like to do that often. I really don't, because I don't want a virus on my computer. I don't want anything like that, but it's the first and last time I'll ever watch this fucking movie. And for some reason, I enjoy the first Candyman film. I did a review for that. The second film was average, at best. And this film is definitely the worst. Even Tony Todd says it's the worst. On his interview for Candyman 2 Farewell to the Flesh from Stream Factory, which I have, thanks to a nice guy named Tony. Even Tony Todd pretty much says there's only the first two. He didn't even want to talk about the third one. He didn't even want to mention the third film. If you go on IMDb and trivia, apparently at a convention he talked about that this was his least favorite. And there's a reason for it. This film was fucking worthless. I mean, for some reason these films kept going lower and lower and cheaper and cheaper. They look cheaper. Even the fucking video quality looks cheaper. And then Virginia Madsen was really good. And then the girl in the second film, Kelly Rowan, I believe is her name, she was alright. This, you have a horrible actress who's a fucking Playboy playmate who's on Baywatch. Donna D'Errico, a fucking Playboy playmate, stars in this movie. And no, you don't see her tits, in case people ask. If she acted well, that'd be nice. I mean, even the girl in the second film did fine acting-wise. Wasn't as good as Virginia Madsen, but she was fine. This girl can act. And then you don't get the exploitation of seeing her tits and ass, so... Oh, she's a Playboy playmate, so you see a scene or two in her panties and a little bit of nipple action out of her shirt. Like, so hard. See it poking out through her shirt. Great. Alright. Glad you got her. I'm sure she helped sell you a lot of videotapes or DVDs, Artisan. And it's directed by a guy, this is a guy who directed a film called Sleep Stalker, The Sandman's Last Rites, which I remember the VHS cover because it was a face on a sand dune, footsteps on the side, and on top the sun was rising up. Really lackluster, crappy direct-to-video flick. Like the idea that you don't have the Sandman killing people made of sand. Okay, cool. So we take Spider-Man, Sandman, have that as a villain. You want to see a villain, the Sandman, done right? Watch Death Warrant with Jean-Claude Van Damme. That movie didn't... The Sleep Stalker didn't cut it. But I guess they saw that film, hey, get that guy to direct Candyman 3. And pretty much this takes place in LA, the Day of the Dead, around that time period. And this girl is supposed to be the daughter of the girl in the second movie. Which is weird. It's supposed to be a continuity with the second movie. They have the mother character briefly, and it's played by a different actress. And then they even do a stupid thing where they show a flashback to Candyman when he was human. When he was son of a slave and cut his hand off. His death scene is completely different. Even though it's a continuity with the second film, and the second film showed the flashback of how he died, they showed the flashback again, and it's completely different. Including the fact that the flashback in the second movie, it was in the daytime. He was on the ground. Here, it's nighttime, and he's like on some, looks like on something that a scarecrow would be on, and it's fucking nighttime. I'm like, how do you fuck that up? That's a little thing, but it's an easy thing. It's like they took the daughter in the second movie is grown up. The daughter that you see at the very end of the second movie is grown up. You want to follow that, but then something as easy as that, you fuck up. It starts off extremely white bathroom, blood coming from the toilet, not toilet, the bathtub. And this film has a tendency for stuff to bleed. You know, a bathtub bleeds, an egg yolk bleeds, a fucking. You see a shot of legs and then blood dripping down from that. And it's not from her period, it's from something else. There's a lot of like blood bleeding. It's like their director's trick. Is one of his few tricks. We don't know what to do with scenes, so have something bleed. So let's have a bathtub bleed. And then she sees Candyman, she screams, Tony Todd does this, cuts away to the titles, and you're like, what? Then she wakes up, nightmare, then she's in LA. She starts drawing, she's an artist, and she does such a shitty job narrating and describing the legend of Candyman and how it came to be by this non-actress. She cannot act. I'm sorry, she's a good-looking woman, but she cannot act. It's one of those stereotypical, you know, Nev Campbell in Scream when she said the blonde bimbo who can't act, who would go up the stairs when she's going through the door. Well, I don't remember her doing exactly that, but she is the blonde bimbo that can't act stereotype that Nev Campbell would talk about in Scream. The Scream came out before this. The Scream was 96 and this was fucking 99. But you have a blonde bimbo who can't act. That's what gives a bad name to Playboy playmates who can't act. Stuff like this. It doesn't help that she's the fucking lead. And you have to explain the origin of Candyman again. We did it. But yeah, she knows this guy who's having this art gallery about the real, who Candyman was in real life. And the guy's paintings, because Tony Todd's character was an artist back in the day. So he's showcasing the paintings. But he also wants to use the Candyman motif because it was around the time of Day of the Dead. And she doesn't like that. We should just think of him as a good human being, not this myth, not this mythology. But he's going to do it anyway. Yeah, this party, she's pushing to saying the Candyman 5 times in the mirror. She's pushing it into doing it. And then Nick Corey, also known as Sue Garcia, is in this film. If for those who don't know, Nick Corey is the guy who played Rod Lane in the original Nightmare on Elm Street, who was the boyfriend of Tina and got arrested and put in jail and hung strangled by Freddy Krueger in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And you know what? He was the best part of the movie. It was nice to see him again. I can't remember too many movies he's been in. I'm sure there are some. I can't think of it at the top of my head. But I don't get to see him that often. And it was nice to see him. And I thought he actually did a good acting job. To be honest, I wish he was the main lead of the film. Now, granted, he doesn't die. And he has some decent parts. But there's a good chunk where he disappears for like half an hour. And which was a fucking shame. Great, he doesn't die, but he should have been the lead. He was the better actor than this Donna D'Errico. It was nice to see him, though. I thought he did a really good job, actually. And he comes in, scares him with the hook, and says, I'll come for you. And then later on, you find out that the guy with the art gallery hired Nick Corey as an actor to scare them. which I thought that was a nice little thing. Mainly because I thought it was nice to say, hey, I remember that guy. I'm a big fan of the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Nice to see him again. He's like, oh yeah, I guess I got carried away with the part. The girl gets pissed, the lead gets pissed, goes to the subway. Even the fucking subway looks cheap. It looks like a set. I don't know what it is. It looks too small, and it looks too... I haven't been to many subways, but I've watched a lot of movies that have subways in them. This looks like a very tiny subway. It just screams like... It screams a set. Just screams faker than fuck. If it's a real subway, then I'm wrong. And then Tony Todd comes in, and by the third time, I like Tony Todd as an actor, but even he didn't do much for me, because he's pretty much him just saying the same fucking shit he said in the first two movies. You know, you should believe in me, and, you know, why do you doubt me? And he hovers, and it looks, the way he hovers from the subway tracks to the platform just looks hokey. It looked hokey the way they did. I don't know how to describe it. And she goes to bed. She gets knocked out. She wakes up. And kind of like Virginia Madsen, except it was more visceral. It was more of an impact in the original. When she woke up, had blood over her. This girl doesn't have blood over her, but she wakes up, she looks around, and she just flashes what happened. That there was a girl who did show her tits, and the guy with the art gallery, they were messing around, and the guy got killed by Candyman. The girl with the tits got killed by bees. Really nothing much to run home about. And then she screams and calls the police. And then you get these two racist cops, which, to be honest, didn't need... Well, I guess there's a reason one of them is in the movie, which I'll get to the end, but... And then you also have another cop, which is actually, I believe, Ernie Hudson's son, Ernie Hudson Jr., which he doesn't have much to do, but it's not as good as his dad, but he's alright. But, you know, it's not much of a part. But okay, that's cool. That's Ernie Hudson's son. I didn't even know he had a son who was an actor, but that's Ernie Hudson Jr. She goes home. She hears screaming from her roommate, and this trying to be suspenseful scene that she's trying to get the keys, and though it's her roommate screaming because she has a part in a horror movie. She talks with her roommate, and Nick Corey comes to talk to her. Again, Nick Corey, it was nice to see him. It's like, I thought he did. I'm going to keep putting this in there. He was the only thing that kept me going, was to see, oh, it's sad that he's in Candyman 3. And once again, he's the guy who knew someone who got murdered, and the cops are looking for him, kind of like a Nightmare on Elm Street, and the killer is this guy who was murdered, and, well, different circumstances, but sort of a phantom type of figure. You know, unlike, say, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers. I mean, Candyman is more of Nightmare on Elm Street, at least the first film, talking about like how the serious Freddy, just more of that, now you see him, now you don't, type of thing. I mean, different worlds, but more similar than, say, to Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. It's like Nick Corey's playing that again. But, I mean, I wish they would have given much more to do. I wish that about the 50-minute mark, he disappears because he gets captured by Candyman, put on a hook, and pretty much he's the damsel in distress. He's knocked out, and Candyman goes, if you want him, you must surrender to me. I mean, the shit that we've heard in the past two fucking films. It's like there's nothing for Tony Todd to do. At least others, either it's just a killer that you just want to see who kills which it's not in this movie because Candyman just has the same kills with the hood stabbing someone. I mean, it's not like you're not going to get big inventive kills like in a Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, or even a Halloween film. And there's not much for Tony Todd to do in the part. He's pretty much saying the same fucking lines he said in the past two films. Especially when you watch these films back to back to back. But maybe that's the point, is they were counting on, well, you haven't seen a lot in 4 years from 95. You haven't seen a Candyman film, but you just don't watch the last two films. But Nick Corey talks about how this cop's after him. What was he said? If he doesn't care, this one of the racist cops, he's been put up for brutality, and if he could pin it on me, then it's Miller time. But I give credit to Nick Corey. He tried the best that he could. And apparently there was the paintings of Candyman were stolen, so they have to find the gang who did it as well. You have a scene where Candyman stares her in the bathroom and sees her dead mom. And throughout the film, she sees her dead mom, who she thought committed suicide, but maybe get the idea she might have been killed by Candyman. Because apparently the mirror didn't do anything in the second film, breaking the shit. Now apparently you have to A, destroy his paintings, and B, make it so that no one believes the mythology. No one believes in Candyman. No one would say his name. No one believes in the shit. I'm like, wow, they just keep changing. Well, I mean, they do that with a lot of horror film sequels where there's not a new. I mean, they do that with Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, first it was burying Freddy. Not first, but, okay, let's go burn him, and I have the power to walk away from you. Then it's stuff. I mean, the third film, bury his bones, but that didn't work because he just woke up after a dog pisses. I mean, it just. But at least those films were entertaining. They were fun. At least they were good. They go to this old lady that Corey knows, and she's smoking a cigar, and she pretty much talking about how you have to face it. That's where you get the egg yolk that's bleeding, and a bee comes out of it. Again, this bleeding thing, it's like this director's one trick. How do I scare someone? Have something bleed. Nick Corey and the girl drink together, but ready to have a sex scene. Then Candyman's there, and that's when he takes Nick Corey. It's like 50 minutes in, and he disappears for 30 minutes of the fucking movie, which sucked. Because now I'm stuck with this fucking horrible actress who doesn't even give the courtesy to take her off her top. I mean, both would be cool, or good actors who do that. But at least have a good actress, or a decent actress at least. But I'm sorry, she's not that. She's one of the big problems of the film. You don't give a fuck about her. Why don't you give a fuck about a non-acting Playboy playmate who claimed the fame was Playboy and Baywatch? It's like if Pamela Anderson was in the lead. And that would suck ass too, because she's a terrible actress as well. As how much her roommate gets killed. She gets arrested. Yeah, we haven't seen that before. Virginia Madsen in the first film, for fuck's sake, same goddamn thing. She's in. There's one kill I will admit that's pretty cool, or decently cool. Is she gets in the back of the police car, and one of the asshole cops are in there, and he starts choking, and you see a hook go through the back of his seat, and you see that a hook is actually inside the guy's mouth. So it's inside the guy's mouth like this, and it's through the back of his car seat. Okay. Probably the best kill of the movie. It's not saying much. This is a decent kill at best. At least it wasn't the typical stab him in the stomach. And of course they won't believe her, so she gets away. Tossed to the old lady again. She talks about how, well, without the good the evil will die. So you gotta destroy the good, which is represented by his paintings. Gotta find the paintings. Candyman fucks with her some more, because during the Day of the Dead, a nice moment, Ernie Hudson Jr., he beats the shit out of the asshole racist cop. And sort of the racist cop, in a way, gets kicked out, which leads to the ending, which I'll get to. The guy who stole the paintings contacts her, but then the assholes knock her out. And then the guys who stole the paintings are this cult of dumb fucks who they stupidly called Candyman's name, and Candyman. And Candyman kills their stupid ass off screen, unfortunately. Rather see their stupid ass killed on screen, but what you did, what you did. A shitty movie does shitty things. And she gets out of her chair, gets to this one place, finds Nick Corey hanging, gets him down. Candyman, Tony Todd just doesn't have any much lines to say. Behold your end. This is your end. Tries to hypnotize her again. She snaps out of it, remembers her mom who dying, slices the paintings, and then this horrible effect looks like a fucking supernova CGI fire blast. And Candyman's gone. And then lo and behold, the asshole cop who wants revenge on this girl for him getting in trouble and thinking she killed his partner, for some fucking reason is now so out of it, he's carrying a hook and says, I'm Candyman. So Ernie Hudson Jr. followed him and shot the guy, and the guy's dying words was Candyman. I understand being an asshole, but he just all of a sudden he's fucking crazy, thinking Candyman. Not shoot her with a gun, just I'm gonna hook her and I'm Candyman. And then the girl, because to kill the mythology, says, yeah, he's the one who did it. He's the Candyman. Then you get a shock scene, like you see in a lot of films. You think Candyman's alive, but he's not. And it's Nick Corey and the girl and a little girl that's, I think, Nick Corey's daughter. They are at the lead's, her mom's grave site. And granted, no sequel bait ending. Didn't give a fuck. And I'm glad there were no more Candyman films. I'm sure I guarantee you, I will bet money they're going to remake it one day. I wouldn't have been surprised they announced it a long time ago and I forgot. And if they haven't, they'll announce a remake. I guarantee you they'll announce a remake. I would bet money on it. If they haven't yet, which I would not be surprised if they have. Because, Candyman 4, honestly, I wouldn't give a fuck about Candyman 4. I didn't give a fuck about this movie. I barely gave a fuck about the second film. Again, this was a franchise that wasn't needed. The first film is good. That's all you needed. Tony Todd has nothing to do in this film. And it's not like he's in it for 2 minutes and that's it. It's not one of those later Hellraiser films where Penn is in it for a cameo. Tony Todd's in it throughout, but the dialogue is the same shit from the first 2 films. Copy paste. The kills. Okay, he stabbed the guy who ran the art gallery. He killed her roommate, sliced her stomach a little bit. The cop character, one of the cops in the mall. I mean, not like it's much of the asshole cult dumb fucks killed them all off screen, which that's not satisfying. And none of it has the visceral impact that the first film had, with a fucking little boy screaming in pain, holding his crotches bleeding, and the camera panning into the whole toilet being bloody and chunky and bloody. That has a visceral impact. Not a damn thing here. It looks cheap. It looks like a direct-to-video film. The acting is in the realm of don't give a fuck. The lead is awful. It's a blonde Playboy playmate who was on Baywatch. That tells you all you need to know about the lead actress. And the plot was boring. Once again, it's a girl who's a lead. Once again, it's her roommate is killed, and oh, now the cops think she did it. Which the cops thought the lady did it in the second film. Cops thought Virginia Madsen did it in the first film. It's like the same fucking thing. It's a woman, it's a white girl, and she is accused of murder, and so she can't go to the cops for the third fucking time. And Tony Todd's saying the same fucking lines of dialogue. And again, the only thing I could take positive was Nick Corey. Cool, he was in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Nice to see him again. And he didn't die, which was surprising, to be honest. But then he again disappears for fucking... It's not like the first 50 minutes he was in it throughout the whole movie. And then he disappears for fucking 30 minutes of the film. From like the 50-minute mark to the 80-minute mark, he disappears. And even when he reappears, he's fucked up, so he's lying there. Can't do much. How about have him help the lead lady? Or do something? Or try to fight Candyman? But no, can't do that. Because we can't be that different. Instead of destroying the mirror in the second film, it's destroy the paintings. Wow, that must have took a lot of work from the screenwriter to come up with that one. In this lame, lazy, boring sequel. And I'm pissed that it took me 27 minutes to get through this. Should have done it in 5 minutes. But I want to sum up a movie if I think it's shitty. So, hey, if instead of wasting 90-some minutes of your time, you can waste 27 minutes of your time listening to me. But fuck Candyman 3. I mean, yeah, I'm not throwing shit and punching it because I had a feeling it'd be bad. Because the second film wasn't much. And yeah, it's pretty damn bad. I mean, the fact that Tony Todd even says is he didn't even want to talk about it on the Candyman 2 Blu-ray. I don't blame him. What's he gonna say? Oh yeah, the Playboy Playmate girl, yeah, she was hot. That'd be funny if he said that. But I mean, what the hell is he gonna say? Probably didn't get to work with Nick Corey a lot. Shitty script. Shitty movie. But yeah, I mean, fuck this. You know, I even forgot to mention, I'll mention this on the review of the first film, that apparently Eddie Murphy at one time was going to be Candyman. But thankfully that didn't happen, so I guess he did Vampire in Brooklyn instead, which is a shitty movie. Sadly, I'll probably watch that over this, because at least Kadeem Hardison and that movie can give me a couple chuckles, but I'd just rather watch that movie instead. Golden Child over any of these fucking movies. But that shows how much I give a fuck about this movie. I'd rather talk about some info about the first Candyman, like Tony Todd did in the interview for Candyman 2. That's all I got. It's Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. You want to watch Day of the Dead? Watch George Romero's Day of the Dead. This movie's... it's nothing. Later.